One of the things that really bother children on the spectrum is sleeping. Some of them are able to sleep throughout the night. And when you are able to sleep out the night, it's good for the brain. It recharges the body. All form of communication is communication. But when a child on the spectrum is hungry and they don't have the words to say, I am hungry, they are crying, they are screaming, they are yelling, just to get your attention to feed them. And when you feed them and you don't give them the right food, it also causes a behavior. I really want parents who have children on the spectrum to really think about the diet. Think about your kontume, your kwensusa. Think about your eggplant. Think about all different types of green veggies that are good for your child. Fiber, you don't want them to be constipated. If they have diarrhea, you have to take those things out. You want them to be able to concentrate. You want them to be able to sleep at night. Don't even worry about the speech yet. And God gave you the wisdom, right?
Yeah.
And
observe things.
Observe. If you realize that my child has a hard time, because most children on the spectrum, not all of them, have a hard time chewing. Blend your food. So if the person is overwhelmed by what they see, or overwhelmed by what they smell, or the texture is bothering them, or it's painful for them to eat, that's when they run away. They don't want to be bothered. But you study your child. Once you start the food, it becomes easier. Let's focus on the food. Let's focus. I want my child to focus during therapy session, but you're giving them the wrong food. How will they come and concentrate? They won't be able to concentrate. No way. They already walked in very hyper because you fed them juice or more something. But if you fed them the right food, they will come there full and ready and calm.
Yeah.
Worry about healing the body. And when you heal the body, you realize that the child will be able to sleep at night. You realize that they won't be able to stim too much. When they're in the classroom, they will be able to concentrate. Right? Symptoms is I believe the caregivers and some researchers have, but it's not scientific based on. It's a mixture of beliefs when it comes around that. So,
okay. Welcome back to the Abi Imani Review Show, where we speak, we are real so that we can live. We thank God for another session. And today I have someone who is not new to the show. This is her third time on here.
yes.
She's early, I always mix up the words.
Developmental
Intervention Specialist.
Yes, for early intervention.
Yes. So before I tell us what we're going to talk about, I'll let her introduce herself so that you know a bit about her. What do you do, your background, your family, your interests? Yes, just go ahead and tell us.
Sure. Okay. So hello, I'm happy to be here. I want to thank Abby for this opportunity.
Yeah,
this, I believe, our third time having conversation. My name is Stella Amoako. Right? I'm a developmental intervention specialist, working with early intervention, right? We work with children from 0 to 5 years old. I'm a mother to Skylar and Rain, and I'm also a wife to Bernard. I have to give him a shout out. And that's about it.
Yeah.
Right?
What do you love doing? Do you have any hobbies?
You know what I realized now lately?
Right.
I love cooking.
You do?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Cooking has been my new
interest.
interest.
So you're discovering new hobbies as you go along.
As I go along with the comedy aspect of it too.
Yes. So she did say that if she wasn't doing what she's doing now, she'd be a stand-up comedian. So yeah. Great. Okay. So today we're talking about documenting hope, food and autism.
Yes.
Like I mentioned before, this is the third time she's come on, and the first two sessions we still talked about autism, but I'm sure we have new people watching us now.
That's
so
right.
Tell us a bit about autism, everything about it, how it happens, how to manage it briefly. then we'll go into the other aspects.
Yeah. I think the first time we're having a discussion with you, Abby, we had a parent, ABA, development, ABA. Okay. ABA, what's the word I'm looking for? ABA therapist.
Okay.
And a mother, right? And that time when we had that conversation, we're talking about awareness within the Ghanaian community, right? Yeah. And what autism looked like for an average Ghanaian person, right? Where do we see autism, right? Yeah. How it affects the lives of children and families at that time in Ghana with autism, right? And how even autism show up in an adulthood, right? We talked about how the market woman, your uncle, your father, might be on a spectrum and not know it, as an adult. Yeah. And then the second time we had the discussion, we talked about autism, but also developmental delays, right? Yeah. I think that time we were launching Skyring, right? Yeah. And, we thought that it would be a beautiful and interested to come back to that platform, the same platform that has been inclusive, that has been very open-minded about talking about autism. And so when we decided to come to Ghana, we said, man, this is the best place to be, right? And then we came and we talked about parents' involvement, right? And how it's important to seek early intervention at any age, right? Whether they had to do with autism or it didn't have anything to do with autism. Yeah. And I think we even dive into a little bit how it affects marriages, right? Yeah. And families. And then today we're gonna go really into autism, right? Have a little bit discussion. What is autism? How does it affect the family and the things that we can do, right? Develop,
So when someone hears the word autism, how would you explain to them what it is?
Right, okay. So today we're gonna try to paint a picture, okay? We're gonna break it down, paint a picture of what autism is, right? So when we speak about autism, it's two things that I want to discuss. Okay. How does a child become autistic? Is either through genetics or through environment, right? Genetics mean, father and mother chromosomes, the mixture of it. And then through that they get, a child can be autistic.
That means that it runs in the family.
It runs in the family. Or it could be environment, right? Okay. One thing that I want us to keep in mind as we have in our conversation, most of my facts will be based on CDC research. And somebody might ask, what is CDC? It's for Centers for Disease and Control.
Yeah, disease control and prevention.
And prevention, right? And the reason why I like that, .gov. So when you do your research and you put in CDC.gov, G-O-V, right? Okay. And the reason why I like that website so much, because honestly, Americans are leading when it comes to research on the disease, right? What's causing it, right? And even using the word disease is a big pill to swallow, but it's the reality, right? So then that way we can find prevention, right? All right. So somebody may ask, what is autism? Where does it come from, right? How did my perfect pregnancy, my perfect child became autistic, right? So we discussed before. Where should I go back? So it can be through birth, right? Genetics or environment. The genetics part is when you are born, your chromosomes, and environment can also be one of the factors they have done research on is if a mother is under a lot of stress, right? Can also play a role in it, right? Yes.
Just stress.
Yes. During pregnancy, one of my really good doctors have done research on that, right? So while there's really not really clear knowing what's causing autism, there are many factors that can contribute to it, right? That's why I like the CDC.gov because they have done a lot of research on it, right? And even that, the differences, they are still finding a lot of information. So there's not one clear-cut way what's causing the autism, right? But we know it affects the brain and it affects development, right? The brain affects the nervous system, how the child's write, eat, zip, daily routines, right?
So motor skills.
The fine motor skills, right? That's why a doctor might recommend or make a referral that you see occupational therapy. It's not because your child is autistic, but the symptoms, what is affecting that child, right? The fine motor skills aspect of it, right? The sensory aspect of it, right? The strategies to implement, to put in place for that child to be successful. So autism affects social too, right? That's part of a developmental condition. So I wanted to paint a picture for a mother, right? Who lives in maybe like in a rural area, right? I want a mother to start thinking about at least at 18 months, your child should have 10 words, right? At least at 18 months. They're getting to 2 now, right? You realize that it's hard for them to respond to their name, right? You realize that it's hard for them to give you eye contact, right? You realize that they're very picky with a certain kind of food that they eat, right? You realize that they comprehend a lot of things, but they're not able to give you back a response, right? So these are like the major, right? There's a lot of symptoms that can be shown that a child is on a spectrum.
So can we call this one speech delay?
You can call that speech delay, right?
And once a child is exhibiting that, it's
eye
very likely
contact,
that they are on the spectrum.
And then even that, it's very difficult for us to say a child is flapping their arms, a child is having no eye contact, a child is not responding to their name, right? You continuously call them and they are not responding. Now, please make sure that it's not because they are watching something that they enjoy doing, right? They are caught up in their favorite activity. So it's very hard for them to respond to what you are calling them to do, right? So these are like basics, symptoms. Not responding to their name, not having eye contact, sensory, very picky with the food that they eat. These are some of the symptoms that the developmental intervention specialist or pediatrician may look at it and say that your child might be on the spectrum.
Yeah. So if you identify this, it has to be something that has happened over time. It won't be just a one-off thing, let's say with the lack of attention or inability to respond.
That's right.
It has to be something that you've observed
continuously. Over time.
So let's say, for how long are you looking at? Like you said, the child at 18 months has to
have at least 10 words, right?
Words.
Say mama, dada. You realize your child is turning, earlier as 18 months is possible, but I think Ghanaians, we wait a little bit longer till we are 3. By 18 months, you should be discussing with your pediatrician the things that you are observing, right? You not responding to their name, no eye contact, very selective with the food that they eat, very selective with textures, right? What brushes around their skin, what they touch, what they feel, what they smell, lack of sleep. These are all things that you should notify your doctor about your child. And then on top of it, nonverbal, you're not speaking, right? Yes.
Okay. So then how does such a child, apart from these things, outwardly, how does a child manifest what's going on in their brain, like the lack of coordination? Apart from, so you mentioned writing, in their relationship with their parents.
So another thing to look for, right? If you are concerned that your child might be on a spectrum, they are tippy-toeing, right? They are never using words to express their needs and wants, right? They are grabbing you by the hand, right? Pointing is a gesture of communication, right? Even if a child is delaying speech, they should be able to point, to identify, to help you guide their needs and wants, right? So once you realize that your child is 2.5, they are not pointing, you should be alarmed as a parent, right? How do they communicate? They grab you by the hand and walk you towards what they need, right? Instead of using single words. Some children might even have a hard time doing haircut, right?
Okay.
It's
They
sensory.
can't sit still.
They can't sit still. It bothers them. It irritates them. Right? So these are all the things that you should look for as a parent.
And I've also noticed that some of them are sensitive to sound.
Sound.
Loud.
Sound. And some of them are not even bothered by sound either.
Okay.
Some of them are not sensitive, especially at a young age. Some children may hear sound, very loud sound, and everybody will move and they will not move. It will not bother them at all. They are not sensitive to sound yet.
Okay. All right. So I guess we have an understanding of what autism is. But today's discussion is mainly on food.
Yes.
How to use food to manage the symptoms.
Yes.
All right. And we can talk about other things, but we want to zero in on the food. And because we're in Ghana, you're looking at food in Ghana.
Yes.
Yeah. And how we can use the different types with their nutrition to help manage autism.
Yes.
So again, you tell us, what have you discovered?
Since I've been into Ghana, right?
Yes. And how is it working?
How is it working?
You know, what's the feedback from
the people that we are working with, from parents? Yes. So the most important thing that we just discussed, right, is that the symptoms that we see in the children who are autistic, all right? And most of the time, food can be very overwhelming for a child on the spectrum. They are sensitive to different textures. They smell, they watch. They are so not sure if they want to eat this food, right? For lack of better words. But in order to heal our children, we need food. In order to, I believe our parents who have children on the spectrum have heard a lot about gut inflammation. You hear a lot about the importance of feeding your child safety food or safe food, right? What does that look like? What does it mean? I think it's important that we use natural food. Let's go back to the way we used to eat before KFC. We need to start thinking about the way we used to eat before, snacks being closed down to cookies, juice for our children, right? We need to start looking at what symptoms I'm seeing in my child and what is the best way I could help that child. Since we're on the topic of food, we must understand that autism is a spectrum. And that means it affects everyone differently, differently. So it's important for a parent, for a mom, for a dad to know what symptoms you want to treat, right? It's important to do lab works to see where your child needs the most help, right? What they are lacking. It's important for a parent to make sure they're doing food allergy tests to make sure that your child is not allergic to anything that you want to implement or try.
Sorry to cut you, but you know, here in Ghana, we're not very, how do I say it? When it comes to allergies.
That's right.
It's not really a thing.
That's right.
Yeah, so in your research, have you found how within our context we can do this test you're talking about to find out what your child is allergic to, be it medically or in the house? How do you discover that my child is allergic to this and that?
They have tests in Ghana.
We do?
They do.
That's
They
great.
do. That's
So
the beautiful thing about Ghana. They do have research.
Can you share with us where?
I don't know. But they do have them. When you talk to parents, when we do our research about food and herbs, they'll say go to Mampong. You know, they'll say go to Atomic. Even Atomic, that's a whole land dedicated to herbs and holistic approach in eating healthy, right? So Sky Rain is still learning about the resources that are in Ghana to help put measures in place for our children to be successful. But they're there. So I apologize if we couldn't give you the right hospital. But they do have it in Ghana and do look into it, right?
Okay.
And
so they'll examine your child.
Yes.
And be able to tell what works for them and what doesn't.
What does not work for them. Food.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And we also know based on research in foreign countries that dairy products are not good for children on the spectrum. All right. Milk, cheese, and I don't even yogurt, right?
Really?
Those things that I would like to say that, it's not part of Ghanaian diet, but now Ghana, our modern day Ghana now is very much part of our diet.
You take a lot of milk, a lot of eggs, yogurt.
Yes. So these foods are not good for our children, and you want to know why? Because the process of breaking down is not good. It's not easy on the autistic stomach, right? So it could cause constipation or it could cause diarrhea.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So it's important to know which food you can feed your child.
Okay. All right. So when we look at our Ghanaian dishes, which ones have you observed have helped with the symptoms of the autistic child so far?
So when we talk about autism, you want to give a lot of fiber and a lot of protein, probiotics.
Okay.
Right. So Ghanaian food, the natural Ghanaian food, the authentic, your spinach, your kontomire, your kwensusa, your eggplant, your alefu, your cassava leaves, all of these, when prepared rightly, will give vitamin A, B, and C, omega-3. We have all these food. So we have to go back to the way we used to eat.
The natural way.
The natural way. Cleansing of the stomach. Okra is very good for even constipation, right?
Yeah.
You prepare your banku and you mix it with your spinach and your okra and you make it very nice and delicious. It will help the gut. It will definitely help the gut.
I know you've done some food combinations.
We have tried food combinations.
Okay.
We have tried a lot of food combinations.
Can you share some of them?
One of my favorite recipe is cassava. Is my new favorite now. Cassava leaves. Please make sure you boil your cassava leaves.
Yes. And make there are different kinds of.
There are different kinds of cassava
right?
leaves.
Yeah, there's the one that's edible.
Okay.
And then that's one that
can be poisonous.
Yes.
Yes. So you find the one that is edible, and then you boil it to make sure it's nice and clean. And you can mix whatever you want. You could use it as in kontomire, right? When the kontomire is out of season or even in season, you can mix it. When you make your spinach soup, I like that. You mix that, you mix your cassava leaves, you mix your spinach, you blend it together, you make your nice abunobudum kwai, and you put it there. Whatever your child likes to eat, you build up gradually, right? You don't change your diet completely. Now, let me go back. One thing at Sky Rain, we believe that you build on what you already have in your house that is working, right? Because it's very hard. I know a parent is probably listening to us right now and saying that, Stella, it's easy for you to talk about food. It's easier for you to say, implement this, try that. You don't know what I go through in my house. And the answer is true. I don't know what you go through in your house. So this is what you do. You take what you have already. You look at your breakfast already. If your children likes Tom Brown, right? Please take the label and read the ingredients. If you have soya, take it out, right? So you have to build your own ingredients for your Tom Brown. It sounds like a lot of work, but if you really want to make an impact of your child being able to sit still, being able to move their bowels, being able to concentrate, being able to get language out, you have to know what goes inside your Tom Brown. Mix your own Tom Brown. Take brown rice, take bambala beans, take red beans, take good beans that have good protein in them. Blend your ingredients, fry it, right? Just like you do your normal Tom Brown. And then once you do it, you have it, you know what's inside. Because let me go back, we said the food heals autism, reverse symptoms of autism. There has been research, and that's very hard for some clinicians and some experts to believe that. But if we are talking about symptoms, then food can heal symptoms. Food can even heal cancer, right? Having the right choices of food. So it's important that you know what goes into your child's diet. Make your own Tom Brown from scratch. Once you make it, put all the seeds that you have, the pumpkin seeds, the black seeds, the chia seeds. And the main reason, Abby, we want to launch Documented Hope is that we want to know the right amount to be put in our children's food. But as a mom who's an expert in the kitchen, you know, for now, you know how much measurement of Tom Brown you want to give to your child. You put all your seed, you blend it, you make it, you put avocado inside. It's one of my favorite fruit, right? Because they have a seed, so it makes it a fruit, right? You put your date and you mix it and you feed your child. Is it going to be easy at the beginning if your child is not exposed to that? No, but you stay there and you keep working on it and you put measures into place. If you want to reward them with TV while they're eating, you talk them in through it. Watch the TV while I give you a spoon.
You still have to monitor their screen time.
100%.
Yeah.
So the best way to do is while you are eliminating screen time completely, you use that as a reward. That's the ABA, right? Positive reinforcement to get what you need. So at that moment, you let that child watch the TV and you feed them the food, right? Another thing that I could think about, make sure you make your own house cocoa because now you can't use sugar. And so now you have to mix it with date or honey or whatever that you have done your research as a mom that you know that is healthy, not too ripe banana in between, right? Not too sugary because we know every fruit that is too ripe to become sugar, right? So in between you stay there and then you blend it with the cocoa. The reason why I say make your own house of cocoa because then you can control the thickness of it. Because
and lately I hear some people, they don't use mainly millet. They mix it up with, I think, it's a corn dough also. So it's not like the authentic millet porridge as we know it. Yeah. So I'm just adding on to what you're saying.
Thank you. We didn't know that. So
helps.
see, now we're all learning.
Yeah.
You make your own house of cocoa from scratch. You know the ingredients that you are putting in there. And the good thing about the food is that when you feed your child, you wait 30 minutes and you observe their behavior.
Okay.
What did this food do to my child, right? Were they overly hyper? Were they overly stimming? Did it calm them down? Did it give them more concentration? Because remember, the reason why we are not taking sugar, because what sugar does is like what an alcohol would do for someone who's alcoholic. When they are not drunk or they are not drinking, they're very calm and collective. But as soon as they drink, they become a whole different person. When your child is on a spectrum, you don't want to give them sugar. Because when you give them sugar, it spikes up the behavior, the stemming, the overwhelming. They can't sit down. They can't concentrate. And as a mother, you are worried, my child is not able to focus. They can't talk, they can't speak. It goes back into what you are putting in your child's mouth. So it's important that you watch what you are feeding them. Give them a lot of greens, a lot of veggies, a lot of meat. You have to find a way to put it in that diet, right? We were so blessed that the Nigerian lady talked about the food that she used to reverse symptoms of her child in autism.
Who is this lady?
I don't know her name, but she's very popular now.
On which platform?
I think the is a pastor.
on which platform? Online, Instagram?
No, it's everywhere. It's on TikTok. It's on Instagram. And not only that, there's a lady on TikTok, and also where I got the inspiration from documenting hope, giving evidence of food reversing autism, right? So the food is very...
Symptoms of autism.
Symptoms. I honestly believe it's symptoms that we are talking about.
Yeah.
That's my personal belief.
Yeah.
Now, she believes that it can reverse it completely. But my belief is that the symptoms, you need to know why your child is running up and down, stimming back and forth. You know it's the food.
So you use the word stimming. Can you explain?
Let me paint a picture. Stimming is a child running back and forth. Here you hear making sounds, right? Sounds can be back and forth, up and down, waving fingers in their face, putting fingers in their face, having the ability not even to speak. Even speech has to do concentration, critical thinking. Everything goes back into what you put in your child's mouth. Even the spices. You shouldn't put spices if you don't know what spices is in on the label, right? You shouldn't put it if you don't know what's in the spices. Don't do it.
So as a parent, you need to be very intentional.
Intentional.
You can't take things for granted.
No. So the food is very, very important. The food is healing. 80%, and when you come to Sky Rain, I tell you, healing is 80% of what you put in your child's mouth. Okay. And then the rest, you leave it to us, and then we do therapy, and then we work on the fine motor skills, because we already had the discussion is that it affects the neuro and developmental. So then our OTs will help you. Then our speech therapists will help, then the ABA, then the facilitators, and then Developmental Intervention Specialist. We will all come in. But if you do not get on top of that food, you apply all these services and you will not see progress. And you hear that a lot of parents saying, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what to do, you know. And the sad thing about Ghana is that everything is costly. Everything is coming out of the parent pocket. And you want to see your child do well, and you want to do well for your child, but you don't know what to do, right? And in talking about food, you still have to do testing to see if it's working. But believe me, if you stay on the food, you know what you put in your child's mouth, they'll do much better. And then somebody might say, but Stella, I don't give my child juice or sugar, candy, cookies. We don't do ice cream. We don't do Coke, we don't do Pepsi, but you're doing rice. Yeah. You're doing banku continuously because that child only feeds on carbs. Now, research has made us have found that autistic kids can't even retain glucose the way neurotypical children retain glucose in their body. So then it becomes continuous feeding, like dopamine, if that's dopamine, if that's the word.
Dopamine.
What is it?
Dopamine.
Dopamine is when drugs, you see, when the people should, constantly need. And you know one thing, Abby, if you give your kids too much carbs and you stop feeding, you stop it, they respond to it as a drug addict will respond to recovery, withdrawals. Yes. Yes. Okay. So that we really have to know what we put in our children. So start going back to parboiled rice, basmati, brown rice, gradually. But you must be willing to make an effort. Because if you don't, you're not going to see the change that you are hoping for. The language, the sitting still, the concentration, being able to be playful with other children, right? And again, I could hear a mother in the back of my voice saying, but Stella, I have tried all of it. No, if you try it the right way, you will testify that the food make changes in the mind of an autistic person.
So you need to be patient.
Yes.
And be consistent in all that you're trying.
Yes.
And be observing the child.
Yes.
And after a while, things will balance out.
It sure will. It sure will. And even in therapy, we give ourselves time, right? 3 to 6 months. You know, an autistic mind is like a light. Once it's switched on, okay, this is what Stella's trying to teach me. It's switched on, right? And so we are really the food. You can't. There's no way going around it. You can't save your child if you don't get on top of the food, the right food.
So earlier on, you talked about a mother in the village.
That's right.
Who we know are not really exposed to a lot of resources like those here in the city.
Yes.
How is Skyrain intending to help mothers in that context? Do you have?
We do have a plan.
Okay.
And I'm supposed to go to Asante Achim.
Okay.
This week.
Okay.
It's already here. And it's to educate the community. The community. And because fund is very tight for us right now, when I approached the Nana, the king in the Asante Achim, I said, you have a lot of people that live in America and you have community. So let's put money and research together. Let's educate the parents. Let's educate the teachers, right? And let's hire somebody in that community, even if it's one person, that can give basic support, therapy. Let's train. There's so much vacuum in the system in Ghana. And so how can I help that person in the village? I'll tell that mother, you have to watch the food that you're feeding your child. Make sure all your food are good and natural. Make sure you are giving your child a lot of veggies. If your child is constipated, right? I even feel like speaking Chi right now.
Once you can interpret,
constipation.
You can go ahead.
Start thinking about which fiber food I can help that child to be able to release. Because the constipation, it's not just 3 days, it's 1 week, it's 2 weeks. It can go on for a long time. Once constipation continue, now the bacteria, yeast, is forming a body. Now they can't sit still. Now they're scratching their head, they're scratching their body, they're running up and down, they're crying, they're overwhelmed. Yes. So you have to find food to help your child ease their bowels as a mother.
So in terms of natural food, I believe that out there in the rural areas, I guess it would be easier for them to access because they do farming, hopefully. I know that now the artificial foods are infiltrating that setting too, but because they are more into farming, like I said earlier, it will be a bit easier for them compared with those in the city to have access to natural foods for autistic children. Is that something that you've observed?
No, I think natural food in Ghana is accessible to anyone who purpose their mind, right? Who's intentional about it, right? For the person in the village, it's easier. Is it? Because now Indomie is everywhere now, right?
So it's more about education.
It's education.
So encouraging people to lean more towards
that's right.
natural food wherever they are.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I was doing my research. I found out that earlier on when you go to antenatal in Ghanaian setting, they used to tell you what kind of food to mix for Tom Brown and so you can be feeding your child. And now it's not as popular as before because mothers are finding alternatives, right? And whatever is happening in the city is triggered down to the rural areas, right? So it goes back to being educated and being intentional about it.
So if someone wants to use the services of Skyrain, do you have contacts, like any information?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can mention it to our audience.
Oh, hi. Okay. So Skyrain, we are on Instagram, SkyrainTherapy.gh, or TikTok, or our website. If you put in Skyrain GH, we should come up. You can easily call us at 053 027-4063. Thank
Can you
you.
mention the number again?
053-027-4063.
And it's SKYRAIN.
Yes,
Sky
Sky
Rain.
Rain, one word.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Shimo. Do you have any final words for our audience
Yes,
as
I
we
do.
round up?
Yes. The hardest thing a mom can hear is to find out your child is diagnosed with autism. But it gets better and it gets easier, especially when you have knowledge of what's going on with your child. But nevertheless, enjoy that child, because before you know it, they are all grown up. Go out. Therapy is outside the home. Take walks. The 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock sun is really good for children on a spectrum. The 2, the 3, the 5 p.m. sun is good for children on a spectrum. Plan a lot of easy, simple activities like rice. Just pour rice in a bowl and watch your children play with it. If you take them to church and the sound and the noise is bothering them, just bring them home. It's not fair to you to sit by a speaker in an outdoor or in a funeral when you are sitting behind the speaker, in front of the speaker, and the noise is right into your ears. It's not fair for autistic child to be in a church setting where the crowd and the noise overwhelms them. Enjoy your child, because before you know it, they are all grown up.
Thank you so much. I believe that we've heard a lot about autism and how to manage it. And it's our hope that as research goes on, more information will be made available to help parents and guardians who have such special children to be able to manage them well, so that they can have good lives.
Yes.
I mean, they can live full lives,
Yes.
like those we regard as
Neurotypical.
yes, or normal. Yeah, so thank you so much once again. And this has been the Abi Umani Reviews show, where we speak, we are real, so that we can live. And God willing, we'll see you in the next session. But before that, we'll say our closing prayer. Can you pray with us?
Yes. Father God, we thank you for a moment like this. We thank you for the life of Auntie Abby and all the crew members that are here. We thank you for the listeners, anyone that's listened, for hope. We thank you for the life of the children who are on the spectrum. At the end of the day, only you will take the glory and nobody else. We thank you for this session, and we thank you for the healing. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, so we'll see you. Bye. Thank you for joining us on this episode. Definitely a time well spent. Do give your feedback in the comment section, and remember to share the link, subscribe to the channel, and like the videos so others can be empowered to live abundant lives. See you in the next episode. In the meantime, have a fantastic week.